If you want to get the top odds every time, bet with TopSport's Same Game Multi. TopSport. Feel the excitement. Gamble responsibly.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Same Game Multi-Podcast. Round 5 is upon us and we cannot wait. Plenty to talk about as always. Introducing the boys to my left this time as he takes a sip. Matthew Mark Cherry, how are you?
Good boys, good afternoon.
On this dreary day, how are you?
Another rainy day.
Good, yeah. Get the brolly out because I think it's fairly well set in and if not here, very much elsewhere.
Pretty poor weather here, but hopefully a bit better and a bit more sunshine up where Tristan Merlehan is, the CEO of TopSport, as he joins us now. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very good. The weather's okay up here, actually. It's been all right the last week or so, which is good. And, yeah, I know it's been pretty ordinary down where you guys are, so it's been funny, the old weather lately. But hopefully we get some good close games because it started to feel a little bit to me that the favoured teams might be starting to get on top of the weaker sides last week, which wasn't the case in the first couple of rounds. So we'll see if that continues this week.
Yeah, definitely not. I think the as Ches would put it, the cream dries into the top a little bit there, mate.
Exactly.
Good round of footy. There was some big close games, but also a bit of a blowout there with the Melbourne Storm, mate.
Yeah, no, they got on at a big win on Sunday, and so did obviously the Eels as well. So that was, as you said, the cream rising to the top. Those good sides, the Roosters taking care of the Cowboys, Manly beating Canberra pretty comfortably as well. So beating Canberra, should I say, pretty well. So yeah, it's one of those things now where it'll be interesting to see if that was just a one-off or if it continues. The lines have probably reflected that we expect there to be a bit wider margin between the sides this week. So it'll be interesting to monitor because then you throw in the wet weather, which then compounds things. So it's going to be an interesting week of footy, I think.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Mate, before we do get the footy, we'll hit our TopSport top that moment of the round. And I can tell you, mate, I'm in for a win here for sure. I'm not mentioning anything negative about the Titans. Just clear that up.
Lessons learned.
I think if there was ever a week to mention something negative about the Titans, it would be after that performance on Thursday night. It was my first night out there in the TopSport lounge, and it wasn't a lot to be seen, but they got the 2 points. So that's something that they can take away. I suppose that's a sign of an improving side if you can get the 2 points when you play pretty poorly. So.
They did. It was a good finish to the game. That's probably about all. We'll just leave it there, eh? I think Mr. Cherry won last week, I believe, so you have the honours, mate. You can kick us off.
Mate, not very often I win anything on this show. Mate, I was in two minds here. The first one, which I'm not going to go with, was the Jared Warrior-Hargraves trying to recreate the Oscars with the big left-hand slap. But something happened after that in the same game. If you're sitting on the 20-metre line and someone's taking a conversion, you don't expect to catch the ball. So mine's James Tedesco taking that conversion towards the end of the game, missed by about 40 metres wide. Absolutely terrible.
Yeah, he got his kicking licence revoked, I think, after that one.
Sacked.
Mate, for me, it's the coming out of the Cronulla game, the Sione Katoa try. I don't know if you caught that over the weekend, but the big aerial display, big somersault, just spectacular what these wingers now do. And I think the best rule they've brought in, I know they've brought in a lot of rule changes recently, but the best rule they brought in probably, 10 years ago now was getting rid of that corner post and allowing our wingers to showcase their spectacular skills. So that was mine.
Yeah, that's it was actually fairly good to see too. I'm actually going away from league this week. I'm going to go to horse racing. Now, in the world of horse racing, it's extremely hard to win a Group 1 as it is, let alone on the weekend. Nature Strip ticked up his third, TJ Smith. He now stands alongside a horse called Chautauqua. So they're the only two horses in history to ever win two or more. I'll say two or more. So they both won 3 TJ Smiths now. So that's quite an achievement. Very good.
Right. Very good. Some quality moments there, mate. Over to you to be the judge.
Yeah, no, well, there's all 3 very, very good moments. And I think I was very impressed with Nature Strip's performance as well. But we're on here to talk about same game multis in rugby league. So we've got to give that one the wide berth. I thought it was a great win, though, and, geez, it bounced back to a lot of form. I thought the kick, I don't know when Teddy will be getting another kick at goal. They were talking about he might get a crack at Italy. I don't know why that comment was registered in the commentary because I'm not sure he'll be playing for Italy anytime soon. I think he'll be a very permanent fixture in the Aussies. But, yeah, I was very impressed with Katoa's try, and I thought I completely agree with you. I think the the change of the rules to allow wingers to showcase their ability. It's such a unique part of our game, and I thought it was a fantastic moment. So I'm going to go with that one as well, a Katoa try.
Give myself a little ding there along the way. Fantastic. I think that's one apiece now, boys. Everyone's got a win, which is fair. Yeah. It's nice to know Tristan's a nice, fair judge there as well. So, mate, we'll turn our attention to the footy this week. Just wanted to touch base with you in regards to a few games. Firstly, the first game of the round, Manly up against the Knights. Tommy Turbo's out for a few weeks. How's that affected the market?
Yeah, it's had a big impact on the markets. The line opened at a flat 6, Manly about $1.40 favourites, I think, and when Turbo came out, Newcastle shortened up to $1.80, Manly $2.05, and the line into 1.5. So there was some talk about Turbo potentially not playing this week, so it was sort of somewhat factored in, but obviously when it was officially ruled out, it did move significantly. Now, there still is not 100% certainty over Kalen Ponga's availability too, so make sure you before you're having a bet, you get the latest update on that. Obviously, the final teams will be announced an hour before the game, but yeah, he's been a day-to-day proposition for nearly every game this season so far. So just keep an eye on that. One of the other big changes on the back of the Turbo news was the futures betting, and the Manly to miss the 8 shortened significantly. They went from about $4 into $2.55. They are now to miss the 8. Obviously, he's out for 4 weeks. He may go to 6. He's got Origin there, which, you know, if he's not injured, he'll be playing Origin, so there'll be another gap of games that he misses then, and it's one of those injuries that doesn't just go away. So I think that's a little bit of value, Manly, to miss the 8. I don't think they're going that well. They obviously bounced back to form against the Raiders, that Turbo led a lot of that. I didn't think they were that good last year until he came back into the side. So if he's going to miss 8 to 10 weeks of this season and they've started 1 and 3 with him in the side, I think they're more than a 50-50 chance of missing the 8, and they're $2.55 to do that at the moment. So I think that's a decent little play for punters out there.
Tristo, mate, for those who are struggling to get a win in the league, mate, I've got a question for you. There's a couple of big races this weekend, including the Sydney Cup, the Australian Oaks as well. Mate, the Queen Elizabeth, mate, that field is almost impossible to pick between Zaki, Very Elegant, and Animo on Very Elegant, $3.20 favourite, mate. You've got the mare in there. Mate, are you backing it? Looking through the field, there are some horses there with some wet form, but not as good as she is.
No, well, it's an absolute cracking race, isn't it? Like those 3 you mentioned are absolute superstars. I reckon, and you got Duace as well, who's been performing absolutely phenomenally, won its last 2 starts. So I think it's a big chance too. But I think the one that represents the best value out of the field is the 8 Montefilia. Knocked off Very Elegant there last start on a very, very heavy track. $7.50. I'm not sure why it's still double the price. It beat Very Elegant on its merits. Drawn barrier 2, Huey Bowman in the saddle. I just think any of these 5 horses could win this race. This is obviously the grand final, third up for Montefilia as well. So I just reckon at $7.50 the outside of those 4 horses, it's got to be worth an each way play. I'm thunderstruck as well, 17 into 13. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to watching this race. This is easily the best race of 2022 so far. It's got to be one of the best fields we've seen for a long time, and all the horses are in really, really good form, which is so important. Normally, you sometimes get these superstars, and one horse has been dominant over the carnival, and one's in just far superior form to the others. But all these different form lines that are intertwining, and you've got them all at the peak of their powers. I can't wait for Saturday to watch the Queen Elizabeth.
Mate, it should be very good. As I said, strong field, mate. Question 2 about I'm Thunderstruck. Now, I burnt myself not that long ago on a horse called Castel Vecchio. I backed it almost every start, and then it started to run a little bit poorly, so I put it in the bin, and it won that very next start. Mate, I backed on Thunderstruck on the weekend. Mate, it loomed up 150 metres out, and it looked like it was going to do the job, and then got swamped. Mate, am I putting on Thunderstruck in the bin, or am I going one more turn?
I just think at the odds it is. You've got to give it another crack. Like at $13, obviously it's a rough price, but you kick yourself for leaving it out, particularly when there has been money for it. It's been consistent, this preparation, and this is its grand final. So I don't think you wanted it peaking last start. I think you want it peaking this start. Maybe it's just flying under the radar. So yes, certainly I think you got to give it one more chance at each way odds at the price it's representing at the moment. I get the feeling maybe it drifts again come race day, like there's going to be support for one of those favoured runners, Zaki or Very Elegant, which is going to cause the market to shift. So I'd probably throw something on at best of the best. You're going to get the best of the top fluck or the best toad, and see if it can cause an upset in what's going to be a huge race.
Okay, mate. Well, I'll get on it. I'll load up, and if I clean you out, you've got no one but yourself to blame.
Good advice there, mate, too, Burto. Don't want to be peaking too early. I've heard that a bit about you.
Oh, mate. every start.
Mate, we will let you go, but just before we do, just touch base in regards to the Gold Coast Titans up against the Parramatta Eels as well. Hopefully the boys will go a little bit better than last week, but it would be tough coming up against the Eels, who were pretty superb last week.
Yeah, Eels have been fantastic. I probably got them wrong at the start of the season. I thought they were a chance of regressing early in the year. I thought it always depended how they were going to start the season, and they were a little bit fortunate to beat the Titans in week one. They got a couple of calls that maybe went their way and a few bounces of the ball, but they got the job done and they got the 2 points and haven't looked back since then. So obviously then going down to Cronulla actually the next week, but that form line's been rubber stamped. So the Eels definitely are a team that's going to be tough to beat throughout the course of the year. The Titans were poor last on Thursday night, but I get the feeling maybe they had one eye on this game. They've actually been pretty good so far, the Titans, other than that game, and that second half against Canberra. So I reckon they're going to bounce back this week. I think they've just put themselves at a higher price than what they would have been had they been a little bit more comprehensive against the Tigers. So I think back at home on a Saturday night, first Saturday night game at home, I'm expecting a pretty big crowd out there at Seabus. So $3 about the Titans plus 7.5 at the line. I reckon there's a little bit of value there. I'm probably a little bit biased, but I think that it's almost like you got to disregard a horse's run occasion. I think maybe you disregard that 80 minutes from the Titans, and I reckon that's one of those things. They might have got the job done when they weren't. Well, they got the job done when they weren't playing at their best, and they're the 2 points you need to bank if you're going to try to make the final. So I'm really looking forward to that game. I think it's going to be a cracker.
Absolutely. Be up in the TopSport bar again, mate?
I'll be trying to get there. It'll be a big race day, so it just depends on what time I can get away from the office. So it'll be, but yeah, I've heard there's a decent crew of people going. There's a large number going on Saturday night, so hopefully they get entertained, and it's a little bit more entertaining than what it was last Thursday.
Get amongst it. Sounds great. Very good. Thanks, mate. Anything else before we let him go? Cheers, you've been quiet over there, mate.
I have. Mate, Tristan, can you remember what Pappenhausen was playing for 3 or more tries there from Sunday's game? That was a bloody outstanding performance from him. I'm just wondering what the TopSport market was. I didn't even actually think that someone had scored 3 or more tries.
No. Well, I can't remember it exactly myself, but I reckon it would have been around about the $11 mark. Just having a look at a market which is probably a similar sort of price as the Panthers Doggies game at the moment, and you look at to score 3+ tries. Taylor May's $8, Charlie Staines $12. So the Storm were a little bit higher price than that. So I reckon he would have been somewhere in that $11 to $15 sort of vicinity. So he's going unbelievably, and I think he should buy me a beer because I switched my Supercoach captaincy off him at the last moment and put it on a Munster. So I think that grew him a couple extra legs. So he did very, very well. Yeah,
I think the way he's playing too, that could happen more than once this year as well from him, especially playing weaker sides. So I'll be on the lookout for that market again later on in the year.
He does like a bit of
definitely. It's definitely a good one to look at, particularly if these scorelines start to blow out. And maybe it's a case of, I reckon next week might be a good opportunity to look at that market. If the weather's still hanging around, that first week of dry weather footy, I reckon we're going to potentially have a situation where the overs don't catch up to where they should be, and that's when a lot of those 3+, 2+ markets really represent good value.
Yep. Cheers, mate. Thanks for that.
Fantastic. Thanks, mate. Appreciate you joining us on the show each and every week. And as always, get on over to topsport.com.au. Use the code word SGM podcast when you're signing up. And Tristo will know that you listen to us and you want to support a great Aussie company. Thanks, mate. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
See ya.
See you, mate.
Yeah, 4 tries for Pat. That was a great performance, wasn't it?
Actually played like he was playing there last year before he got hurt, wasn't he?
He scored 4 tries last year against someone too. I can't remember who, but he did score 4 tries last year as well.
It looked like he's back full of confidence again. As the commentator said, power of the mullet.
Yeah.
Right place at the right time for a couple of them too. Good support play. And some good unselfish football too from Jerome Hughes.
He was struggling.
He was running in sand. I think he would have made it himself, but why not just give it off to someone who's going like a Corvette and
give it to the smear.
And when they had the Xavier Coates made that break down the line, he had big oregano Kafusi and Hughes running next to him. I had Hughes for any time try scorer.
Give it.
And he passed it to Oregano. I was like, oh, you're kidding me. Anyway.
Very good. All right, boys, let's do
You are off. Don't talk to me.
our
Just
send-off.
go.
Who are we sending off
He
this
has
week?
been sent off.
I'm going to send off Andrew Johns.
In what respect?
In the respect of he
Wayne Bennett blow up?
having a crack at Wayne Bennett. Realistically, depends on which way you look at it. Now, obviously, I'm not a massive fan, and I spoke about this last year. I'm not a massive fan of sides poaching other players and stuff like that. Particularly going off the Viliami kick-out was the one that set me off, particularly the most, and that leaked photograph. But when Johns is sort of blowing up about that, just remember it takes two to tango. So the rumours are that Kalen Ponga organised that meeting. Now, for me, some within reason. There's got to be some onus being put on both the Newcastle club and Kalen Ponga himself. And realistically, old man Bennett, he hasn't done anything outside the rules. So, if I'm going to send someone off, it's Andrew Johns for his comments over that Kalen Ponga meeting, which, as I said, it takes two to tango in my eyes.
Yeah, fair call. And it's the Newcastle Knights' fault that put that clause in his contract, so he's not doing anything that he shouldn't be. But yeah, I agree, Ches.
Mate, might be Peyton, Cowboys coach, whinging the top teams get all the bloody...
Did a big Ricky Stewart, didn't he?
Shut your fucking lips, mate. You got to hide and take it on the chin.
Yeah.
When you get three players sin bin, there's something wrong.
Discipline.
Yeah.
That then comes back to the coach.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So
Mine comes out of that game as well, and it's actually the second sin bin on Griffin Neems or something like that, I think his name is. I believe he was committed to that tackle, and it wasn't really late. Can you slow it down in slow motion? It looks late, but played in full speed. It's not. He's committed to the tackle. Shouldn't have been a sin bin in my eyes. The other two, yes, but not that one. So ironically, I'm sending off the fellow that got sin bin, who I thought shouldn't have got sin bin. So
that I totally agree with that. That's coming from me.
Yeah,
that was
Sam
not.
Walker.
That was not. It should have just been a penalty.
yeah. Oh, not even
Maybe.
penalty. I don't think. I
Maybe.
don't think there's anything wrong with it, to be honest.
You can't go full flight at someone and then pull out like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what she said. But
Safest method.
yeah.
Very funny. Anything else, boys? Wrap this segment up.
Nah, that's about it. I enjoyed myself on the weekend. It was a good weekend of football to wrap it off with a good Parramatta romping. So
I was wondering when this was going to come.
it was good football. And I tell you what, I actually messaged me mates, all of us from school. We got a group chat. A couple of the boys are regular listeners, and I put in there. I said, "Fuck!" Out of all the sides, aside from Parramatta, I love watching Melbourne play. They're just so good. And particularly your boy Jerome Hughes, mate, he had an absolute clinic on the weekend. Jeez, he's good. Super consistent.
He'd nearly be number 2 halfback. I know Cleary's only played one game, but I'll put him. But Jerome Hughes nearly be the second best halfback in the game. I know Mitch Moses is there. DCE had a great game on the weekend, but Hughes is up there.
Yeah,
Definitely
absolutely. Definitely.
We'll take a quick break, and we will be back straight after this.
Having a bet on sport this week? Top this.
Whether you're into cricket and curling or golf and greyhounds, TopSport will let you on for plenty. And with literally hundreds of markets from your own backyard to the international stage, TopSport has you well covered. So if you want to get the top odds every time, bet with TopSport.
Top that. Download the app today. TopSport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
All right, we're back. Usually we do our Manscaped trivia, but we're ditched it for this month. We're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to put the 21 done on the back burner, give it a little bit of a rest, and make it come back refresh in maybe a month or two. But in place of that, Burto's got a new segment. Take it away, mate. What is it? And let the audience know all about it.
Alrighty, so for this month we're going to do the Manscaped Ultra Performance Player Rating. As you know, this here pack is called the Ultra Performance, the Manscaped pack. So what we're going to do, it's a player rating. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a rating on what I thought these players were. I'm going to do 4 players. Basically, what we're going to do, I'm going to rate them what they were at the end of the season last year. Now, this is the regular season without finals included. So at the end of round 25 last year, I'm going to give you my rating, and I'm going to get you boys to rate what they are at now. So this could fluctuate a fair bit, but what we're going to do, I'm going to kick it off. 2021, at the end of round 25, I had Kalen Ponga, a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
So given it's a bit hard. He's fairly hard at this point because he's only played the 2 games so far this year. But a 7 out of 10 last year, I'd probably give him. I'm going to probably give him a 4. He lost a lot of credit last weekend.
I'll be a bit more generous than you. I'm going to say 5.5, mainly because he doesn't have Pearce next to him. So, like we said before, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for him this year. Really got to find something inside himself to make that team stay where it was after the first couple of rounds. I can't see it happening. So 5.5 from me.
Yeah, it is hard, like you said, because he has only played the 2 games, and I think he's playing injured as well, which he seems to be injured a lot. That worries me about him. I said that about someone else last year too, being so young and always injured, Harry Grant.
Sam Walker.
No, it was Harry Grant I mentioned. But yeah, back to Ponga. Hard to get a gauge because he hasn't been playing consistent footy. He's obviously been a little bit distracted with the talks going on as well. So the media will have you believe. I don't think that plays into it, to be honest. It's part and parcel with the game these days. People talking about their futures and careers and money and all this kind of stuff. But, yeah, I'm probably leaning towards, if you had him at a 7 last year, he's nowhere near that. So I'm probably going to go, I'm going to go right in the middle, boys. I'm going to go a 5.
5, right.
5 out of 10. So he's doing okay. He's not doing anything special. But in saying that, that's probably the good thing about Newcastle. They don't need him to do that something special all the time, like they have relied on him last year so much with Clune and Eyebrow Clifford, and they're taking a lot more of that onus and a lot more of responsibility, I suppose you can say. So yeah,
relieve the pressure, so to speak. Whereas it was solely he was solely relied on to for that creativity.
It was, and the ball was just always going to him. The defence would just pick it off. They could see him sweeping around the back, and they just knew that the ball was going to him. Yeah, so I'd go a 5.
Rightio. On a scale of 1 to 10, what about his tattoos? I got his tattoos at a 1. Horrible.
Can you go give it a minus?
I was going to say, boys, Daly Cherry Evans. At the end of the regular season, this isn't including finals. At the end of the regular season last year, I had Daly Cherry Evans at a 6.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I think Turbo took a lot of credit for Manly's run last year. DCE obviously played a part in that, but I think a lot of it came off the back of Turbo. If I'm judging him on last week's game, he was an 8. He was just a kicking performance. Just
kicked the second
20-40, and then also kicked the 40-20, and that's never been done in the same game. So he needs to improve. Manly needs to improve, and for a halfback, it's the same. The forwards have got to go forward in order for the halfback to actually have that time and space to play. So. What did you have him, a 6?
I had him at a 6 last year.
I'm willing to say he's probably near that at the moment. I'll go a 6 as well. He's going to have to step up in the next month or so while Turbo's out, I can tell you that. He needs to put in 8s and 9s.
Absolutely.
Next month.
I'm going to keep him at a 6 this year. I'm going to give him a lot of credit for the weekend just gone. I think the only problem is because Turbo was in so much of the spotlight last year, maybe he was a little bit shadowed. So he might have been doing those good things on and off the ball, but I think Turbo got all the credit. But I'm going to keep him at a 6.
Same as you boys at a 6. Now, last year, I reckon if you took Saab and Garrick off the field, Manly are nowhere near where they are, even with Turbo 4 and 2. Those boys put in a lot of work last year. There's talk about him being the starting halves for the test and what a load of shit. Anyway, we could talk all day about that, but we won't. I think if you ask me this question in 4 weeks' time, it'll be a lot lower. But time will tell, and I could be proven wrong. But I think in the next 4 weeks, he's going to struggle without Turbo there. So at the moment, he's going to be the highest that he can get from me, and that's a 6.
So he was a 6 at the end of last year. He's going to stay at a 6.
Steady.
In my eyes, this is probably, as bad as it sounds, Turbo getting injured. This perhaps could be the best thing for him. That way that he can sort of go, right, the spotlight's now on me. I've now got to give him that little, when someone gets a captain's armband and they go from shithouse to penthouse. Yep. This could either have the opposite effect too. Could be putting too much pressure on him and he falls, boys. This one here is a 9 out of 10, boys. I love this player, and it is Cameron Murray. At the end of 2K21, 2021, I've got regular season. I've got Cameron Murray at a 9 out of 10. And I tell you what, I'm going to probably have him at a 9 out of 10 again at the moment. But I'll give him an 8. I don't
know whether I was talking to you boys when I said this a couple of weeks ago, or I might have been talking to the mates at work. If I were to pick a lock...
Yeah, it was us.
Was you? Yeah. Very, very hard decision between Isaiah Yeo, Murray, and Radley, the hitman. I think
Victor the Inflictor.
I think Murray. I'd give him a 9, easy.
Yeah.
Without him, South are a bit of a different side, aren't they? Like I was saying, they've got like those ball skills now. The locks, they're not just big men.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not just another forward.
Yeah, and you know they're getting tries. They're running different angles. They're putting steps on, and he's one of the best at it. And an absolute workhorse.
Yeah, his performance against the Chooks, I think it was 10 out of 10 for that performance. That was a great performance. As I mentioned the other day, I think that captaincy has made him rise as well. Always finds his feet, fastest play of the ball in the game. And yeah, as you said, Ches, he's got getting those ball skills now, and that that second or third playmaker, I suppose you can call it as well. So he's definitely improving on his game. If you had him at a 9 last year, it'd be tough to go anything lower than that at the moment, given his current form. He's a little bit quieter last week, but you can't be up at 10s every week. That's unsustainable.
Yeah.
So he's going to have peaks and troughs. But yeah, I'm going to go a 9 as well, boys.
Yeah.
9 for me.
He's exactly what Braith Nasta could have been for the Roosters years ago before he cracked the shits and left for the Tigers to try and play in the halves, and they pushed him to lock.
Yeah.
Those players change games.
Exactly right. He's like I said it a couple of weeks ago, and I'll say it again. If you get a player like Cameron Murray go to, say, in the case of Cronulla, Cronulla have picked up a good lock in Finucane, Dale Finucane, for example. If you had someone like him, I'm going to say the Tigers or the Dogs, for example, you take them, I reckon he would single-handedly take them from a bottom 2 to maybe, like a 13 or a 14. It definitely makes such an improvement into such a poor side. He's just a freak. But like, for example, if you were to take him to somewhere like the Warriors and stuff like that, I reckon they go to like that 8, 9, 10 sort of side.
Top 8.
So, but
quality player, that's for sure.
Very good, very worth the money. Boys, the fourth and last for today, Sean Johnson. At the end of last year, I'm going to give him 5.5. And at the moment, over in the New Zealand Warriors, he's over there back home for the second stint. Oh, it's hard not to give him anything more. I'll give him 6. I'll give him 6. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But I just feel he struggles for creativity. We spoke about it earlier. Super injury prone, always sort of has been. And realistically, if you're paying his wage, you'd just sort of be tapping him on, like, not tapping him on the shoulder, but you'd be expecting more. So 5.5 at the end of 2021. I'm going to give him a 6.
Yeah, we haven't really seen the Warriors do much yet, have we? They've just been sort of
chugging along,
stuck in this little shell. I know that they had that win against Brisbane, but Brisbane played absolutely shithouse. I'm the same as you. I don't think he's moved much in either up or down. He's probably around that 6, maybe 6.5 mark. I'm just being a bit generous, I'd say. Don't mind the bloke. Don't mind watching him play. Creative when it comes to, making those split decision things. He can pull something out of his ass from anywhere on the odd occasion, and it works. But, yeah, they just haven't done much yet. I'm still waiting to see him play.
He's one of those sort of players too. So for, say, Cronulla or, say, the Warriors where he is now, he might stay at 5.5 or around that 6. He goes and plays international football for New Zealand or the Maori All-Stars, for example. He goes to an 11 out of 10. I just don't know where he gets that extra drive and why he can't get that every week sort of thing.
Yeah, he's getting on a bit in age. Had that massive injury last year. I think the ruptured Achilles. So he came back from that, but he'd be early 30s now, probably.
He'd have to be.
I can see why the Warriors bought him. They've got a young squad, so I would have brought a lot of experience into the halves there. I don't think he's doing any better than what he was at the Sharks last year. What do you say, 6 last year, was it?
I said a 5.5.
Yeah, I'm going 5.5. I don't think he's improved. I don't think he's dropped much. As Ches said, the Warriors haven't really done anything yet either, so it's kind of hard to get a gauge. To be honest, I haven't watched a lot of the Warriors games. I watch every game, but sometimes you watch with a bit more focus than others. But, I'm going to say it's staying. 5.5.
5.5. Well, there you go. So that's the wrap. Next week we might have Might even put a rooster in there just to see what Chez's
Well,
reaction
actually,
it'll go. I'll give him a 1 last year to go to 11.
I actually enjoy this segment. See if you're getting flogged on that 21 and done. It's a nice change.
Something different.
Let us know what your thoughts are, whether you agree with us, whether you got them rated higher or lower. Let us know in the comments down below if you are listening to us on YouTube. Otherwise, send us something on socials. Get in touch with us either way. And
Absolutely.
happy to give you a shout out.
Even send us in a player.
I was just about to say that.
And give us a player, give us a rating from 2021, and we'll give you our rating from 2022 so far in round. Well, it would be round 5. So
sounds good. Like that segment. Thanks again to Manscaped. Head on over to manscaped.com and use the code SGM at checkout. Get yourself 20% off plus free shipping. Boys, I tested it out this morning. They've got their own sale on. You get 20% off the sale price.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so they had something on sale. It was the bundle, I think it was $179. Put our code in, $143. So you get the extra discount. Not only does it smell great, but you'll also pick yourself up a nice little razor, trim up for the Easter long weekend, and lock the doors.
Bloody black market prices, isn't it?
No, mate, 1984 prices, honestly. I haven't seen anything since 1984 like this, so good year too, that. All right, boys, let's jump right into Beer of the Week. Thanks to the Whitebull Hotel, as always, great sponsor of the show. I put in a little request to you, Mr. Cherry, when you picked up our beverages this afternoon. Can you let the audience know what my request was?
Mate, you did. Mate, not only has Burto switched up to 21 and done, this week we've still got Beer of the Week, but we've actually got 2. So me and Clint, from Clint's recommendation, we got the...
Clinton and I.
Sorry, Clinton and I. Clinton's recommendation of the... everyone's had a Bundaberg ginger beer. I like drinking them around Christmas time. They're very delicious. The alcoholic version. Straight from Bottle Mart, straight from Hawkeye himself. I don't mind them. They're 4%. So they're a little bit more forgiving on the old liver than some of the other brands of those ginger beers. They just don't have that real depth of ginger flavour to them.
Yeah,
same as a soft drink.
A good ginger beer burns your throat.
Yeah,
on the way
nice
down.
tingle down. That's what she said.
You're lucky. I hope comes back up.
They are nice. They're just not the best. I was a little bit disappointed with this one.
It's one thing I had them before, and it's, you know, when you get the actual ginger beer and then you get the alcoholic ginger beer, and you think, yeah, fuck, it's going to be exactly the same as the, you know, the glass bottles with the old shitty old ring pull. Let it near lose 3 points, three caps,
and a finger.
But yeah, and a finger. It's just, I was thinking, you beauty, it's going to be exactly the same, but it's just not quite the same.
I reckon if you snuck in a little nip of Bundaberg rum into these, they'd be absolutely sensational. The old dark and stormy.
I quite like it.
Or you can just go and buy a dark and stormy.
I reckon I'm going to give it 3.5 lids.
3.5 lids. I'm kind of a bit disappointed it's not made in the same bottle as the ginger beer with the ring pull. To be honest, I think that would look good, but probably not the best.
One a ring pull.
For the kids, you know, they might go and get one of these instead of the old soft drink. So I can see why they haven't done it. I didn't mind it. There's another one on the market, the Brookvale Union. It's also good. It's better on tap than it is out of a can. This one's not bad though. I'm a bit excited. It's my first stubby lid rating for the whole show, so I'm a bit nervous. What do I do? I'm going to give it a 4. A 4. Nice, solid 4. And thanks to Hawkeye for hooking us up with it. What about yourself, mate? You got something over there that looks a bit wild.
This is actually a local. This is actually a local beer from the neighbourhood we are. For the listeners who aren't in our local government area, COVID, when it was restricted, you weren't allowed here and we weren't allowed out. So it's actually the Great Hops is what it's called. For those who can see, that's the can, fairly colourful, boys. Now, does anyone want to try and pronounce what it's called?
I'm going to have a guess. Nipa.
So there you go. So we're going to call it a Nipa. So a little read I was reading earlier. Obviously, Armidale's a fairly cold area, so mashing at different temperatures allows us to make a stronger beer that leaves an amazing light, sweet aftertaste, heavily hopped and full of fruit for tropical flavours. And I tell you what, it's actually not too bad. The first sip of it, I thought, I was bloody, mate, go and get your own. COVID, mate, you bloody... Anyway, having said that...
It's fruity.
Yeah, very fruity. I'm about 3/4 the way through that can, and I tell you what, I might be stopping down the bottle shop and getting another 4 of them. But I tell you what, 1.9 standards in the can, 6.5. That'd almost start your lawnmower. I tell you, if you have too many of them, you might be in a bit of strife. But I tell you what, that's going to get 4.5 for flavour. And you know what, boys and listeners, that is going to be 5 because I will give it half a star because it's a crack.
What about for being local as well?
For local?
5.2. 0.2 of a lid.
Yeah, I'll give him 0.2 of a lid. I'll give that 5. That's actually really good. But I tell you what, as I said, if you suck a couple of them in, I reckon if you had 5 or 6 pints of these, you'd be a couple of Panadol on an early night, you'd be donged.
Fantastic. Great reviews there. First stubby lid rating for me, Pop My Cherry. Didn't hurt as much as I thought it would. Head on over to the Whitebull if you are in the local Armdale area. Pick yourself up either a 4-pack of the Bundaberg or a 4-pack of the
Great Hops. Neeper.
Neeper.
I believe it is. You got the jump on next week, mate. I think we're on VB long next week, so that'll be right up your alley.
You beauty. That'll get about 7 lids.
In a paper bag as well. We're getting the paper bag.
May as well.
Bit of newspaper rolled up.
All right, we're going to take another break, get another drink, and we'll come back and talk some footy.
Another half win. From punters jumping in early or waiting too late. You get a good price on one leg, but the others have shortened dramatically. You still win, but it feels like you half win. Introducing TopSport's best of the best multi. Get top odds on every leg, every time. Don't be one of these. Just bet and forget Bob Multi. TopSport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Right, time to talk some footy. The boys are just getting the last-minute odds on their phones, not paying attention as per usual.
I've already got my odds, mate.
8 games. Can't wait. Kicking us off Thursday night. Newcastle Knights up against the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. As Tristan said at the top of the show, a bit of a swing in the market with Turbo being out. Went from $1.40 favourites to $2.05 outsiders. That's the Sea Eagles there. That's head-to-head. Newcastle is $1.80. If you do like them at the line, you got plus, 1.5. And you got Newcastle at the minus and Manly at the plus $1.90 each way. Boys, how do you see this one playing out without Turbo and possibly without Ponga as well?
I think it'll be fairly ordinary.
Not looking forward to it. I think it'll be one of those games where it's either really ordinary or really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't care whatever happens as long as it's not a repeat of the Titans game last week. I tell you what, I watched 77 minutes of shit, turned it off and got a message from a mate to say the Titans won. So I watched 77 minutes of shit and missed 3 minutes of goodness. But I suppose it could be all right. I think it could be fairly stale.
fair enough.
I can't see a big amount of points in this game getting scored. I'm leaning towards Newcastle with this, just for the turbo factor missing. If I knew Ponga was definitely out, I might have changed my multi, but not necessarily my choice, if that makes sense. Probably still would have stuck with Newcastle. Kept it nice and simple for this one because it's going to be a simple game. Newcastle Knights head-to-head. I've got the Knights giving Manly 1.5 start. Anytime try scorers for Ruben Garrick and Dane Gagai. That's paying $13.37.
How good's Gagai playing at the moment?
Yeah. Going good. Did you see him mic'd up on Benji the other week?
It was good.
Yeah, it was good. Makes some funny noises, though. I hate to see him having sex. But yes, he is going really well. He's kind of playing at Newcastle how he plays in State of Origin. You know what I mean? That consistent, high-quality football, which he kind of goes in and out of.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Has he won maybe 2 man of the series or 3 man of the series from the wing?
2, I think, yeah.
He just
We'll get the fact checkers to
check it.
that. Yeah.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
just looks like he's enjoying being there too a lot. Like he just seems to be back at home.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Definitely. Very good. Nice little mouldy there, mate. 4 legs, 13 odd bucks.
Yeah.
Good. I like it. Team squads. Jacob Saifidi returns. Now we've also got Mitch Barnett obviously out still. And for the Sea Eagles there, Tommy Turbo's out, set to miss a month or so as well. And Brad Parker, I think, comes back in after COVID, so he's named in the reserve. So it'll be interesting to see whether he makes it on the field or not, the old Hank Scorpio. Yeah.
Players missing because of COVID's getting a bit annoying, isn't it?
It is. And for those of you that are in our footy tipping comp, you should already know, but we did change the rules in regards to that. So usually it was set up by default. You had to have your tips in 5 minutes before the first game of the round and you were locked out. We've since changed that to allow for these late changes due to COVID and that kind of stuff, just in all fairness. So you can now put it in 5 minutes before each game. So just a little note out there.
And if you happen to forget your tips, you can do Friday through to Sunday.
Exactly. Works out for a few of us. All right, boys. Second game of the round, the Warriors up against the Cowboys. What do we got here? I can't read. The Warriors are actually favourites here, $1.96. Cowboys were pretty poor last week, $1.98 head-to-head there. If you do bet at the line, 0.5, not much there. You've got the Warriors at the minus for $1.90 and the Cowboys at the plus for $1.90 as well. If you thought the last game was going to be ordinary, mate, I think this one could probably top it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, I'm going to make something here for anyone in our footy tipping on the same game multi footy tipping. If anyone tips the round, I'll shout you a $50 TopSport voucher. Looking at these first 2 games, there ain't no way on God's green earth is anyone going to pick them. They're going to jag them.
I took the Joker this week.
Did you?
That's how confident I am. There we go.
No $50 voucher for you then, brother.
Team list, boys. Anyone in, anyone out that we can make there? Oh, the Hammer, Tabuai Fado, Hemiso Tabuai Fado. He's out, done his MCL. He'll be out for a couple of weeks, I believe, which is a big loss for them. Scotty Drinkwater comes in at fullback. He's a good player, so he gets a start. I'm sure he'll make the most of it there as well. Just looking at the Warriors, boys.
Murdoch Masilla.
Yeah, with that bloody... what happened to him last week?
Just can't get a win.
Yeah, do you get that? Was it the cannonballer?
Yeah.
Geez, there's been some injuries this year already, boys, and obviously a few cause of that, but knees are just going like that. So, who's Malt? This is yours again, Ches. What do you got?
Yeah, mate. Confident with my tips, but I didn't take anyone head-to-head here. I've got over 36.5 points. I think there's going to be lots of tries in this game. Hopefully this is where we see the Warriors. This is the game for them to really come out and put a show on here. I've got Marcelo Montoya. It sounds like one of those Spanish bloody sword fighters. Awesome name.
The old Matador.
Yeah, something like that. I've got him and Reece Walsh, anytime try scorers. That's paying $7.95.
That's not bad odds.
I think the Cowboys are going to be a bit stung from last week. They would have been drowned in their 10-gallon hats after the smacking they got, and I think the Warriors can roll them here. So
is it one of those things? Cause obviously, the Cowboys they've won games so far this season. It's not like they're without a win. Is this a game where they can sort of bounce back? Are they going to get their ass kicked? They would have got flogged on Monday. I tell you what, the boys would have been doing some sprints, and if they weren't St George and the Bulldogs were, after having their pants pulled down. But is this a game where perhaps they can bounce back and they can go in with some confidence, saying this is a game we can win?
Possibly. They were good to start. Who they play really good? Broncos. They played really well against the Broncos a couple of weeks ago, and then just dropped. Just weren't there. Just weren't in the game. Obviously, the 3 sin bins didn't help. Playing 50 minutes of the game with only 12 men, that's never going to help you along your way. But yeah, possibly, mate. They might kick it back into gear, but you never know.
I take that back. They've also beaten the Tigers 16-12. So
you know who has been good, who I've been fairly impressed with in the losing side, is Tom Dearden. I know we gave him a bit of stick here last year and towards the end of the off season, but he's been really good.
He played a good game. I'll tell you who had a good game on the weekend for him is Kyle Felt.
Yeah, he's usually
he played. Solid. He did. He had a solid game. As much as I don't want to fucking say it.
Considering we give him the send off last year for not being able to catch a ball,
mate. Tupou was a little bit lost out there. He was at certain times. Felt was really, really good last weekend. I thought probably their best player.
Yeah, right.
All right. Anything else to say on that, boys? We'll move along. Next game, Friday night, 8 o'clock. Broncos up against the Roosters, Suncorp Stadium. Broncos outsiders, $4.25. Roosters are the favourites at $1.24. That's head-to-head, of course. At the line is 13.5. Broncos at the plus for $1.95 and Roosters at the minus for $1.85. Roosters were pretty good last week, boys. Broncos were poor. Adam Reynolds looks frustrated. Payne Haas is fighting Albert Kelly, stepping on his blue suede.
Can you call that a fight?
Hey. when someone steps on a good pair of new shoes, that is worth a good
Worth a
Mungandai
stick, you
glove,
reckon?
I tell you.
Albert Kelly also out for a few weeks now with that foot, fractured his foot or something, just randomly fell over, and I think he's out for a few months. So
Maybe-
he was going all right at the start of the year, but maybe it had something to do with big pain ass. He didn't want to go to wrestling.
Say, mate, you want to step on my fucking shoes? Bang, get that up, yeah.
What an idiot.
Talk of Payne Huss going to the Chooks too. I read the
Of
other
course there
Of
is.
course there is.
Of course there is,
Fucking
right?
paper bags.
Oh, I did.
Jesus.
I read that. I think it was yesterday.
$1 million a season.
No, it won't be on that much.
Brendan Smith, $1 million. Joe Manu, $1 million.
We're missing Patrick Carrigan too. They will.
Yeah.
How
That's gonna
big do you
hurt him
reckon
up
the
guts.
paper bag would be for Politis to
I
give
think
Payne
they-
Huss $1 million in cash?
I think they've evolved now. It's one of those recyclable, heavy-duty ones you get from bloody Aldi's with the handles. You can put about 28 cans in them.
I was going to say,
They're stacked full of cash, mate.
would be fairly strong. Nas fall out
I
of it.
think instead of cash, they might have gold bullions in them for next year.
Boys, just looking at the team list there, as you said, Patrick Carrigan and Albert Kelly are both out. Tommy Flegler. What about Tommy Flegler? On report 4 times. How does that happen?
And only got 2 weeks. And got binned.
Ridiculous. Oh, what a return, honestly. I said last week he'll be there to help out Payne Haas. He didn't help him out much because he wasn't on the field. Suspended for 2 matches. Just having a look there through, boys. Branko Lee drops out. Catewell's back, which is good. I think they missed him last round. I think that was a COVID thing as well. So
They missed that. I think they missed that direction and that stable old head.
Yep. And for the Roosters, boys, Connor Watson at hooker there as well.
Yeah, he had a great game, he did. Chopping down some big fellas. Defence was really well. Victor Radley shut down Big Tom Alilo big time. He's usually like the Cowboys' go-to man to make some meters, put some people in gaps with the offloads. And Victor, you could see he marked him the whole game and just shut him down. I think he only made one sort of decent run, like an actual line break that ticked over a couple of metres.
Victor wasn't on the field or something like that.
No, I think Victor was actually in that tackle. He was just busted through a bit, but he just got shut down. I think they'll probably use the same sort of tactic this week with Victor obviously marking Catewell, but marking the other big boys too, like your Payne Huss, those guys, the fresh dudes coming off the bench. I think Victor's going to have the target set on them, chop them down nice and early. Mate, I got a little 4-leg multi for this one. Very confident here on the Chooks. I got the Chooks giving 13.5 start. The total points to be over 38. Mr. Joey Manu and Tupou anytime try scorers for $11.21.
Nice odds there. I like that. I like that bet. Super Saturday, boys, kicking us off. Canberra up against the Storm. Let me just click in here and have a look at what these odds are. Raiders, $4.10. Melbourne are $1.24 favourites. This one's been played at Wagga Wagga, so no home ground advantage for anyone, which is good. Again, we said this last couple of weeks when the Penrith Panthers went to Bathurst, I think. Last week, Sea Eagles went to Mudgee. So it's good to take these games out to the regional areas.
Say Raiders are at Mudgee last year, weren't they? So they have a couple of...
The line on this one is 13.5 as well. Raiders at the plus for $1.95. Melbourne at the minus for $1.85. Melbourne were red hot last week, boys. Pap Smear with the 4 tries. Jerome Hughes playing out of his skin. Harry Grant's back. I think Brendan Smith's back there as well. Mm-hmm. So no changes for the Storm. They're going to be hard to beat, especially for a Canberra Raiders team that isn't up to scratch at the moment, I don't think.
Yeah, I was having a beer with the Guru on Saturday night. He was down at headquarters watching the Raiders game, and they're just struggling at the moment. I think they might be 2 or 3 players away from a top 8 side again. And I don't want to use I won't use the rebuilding word, because realistically a professional club shouldn't be in a real rebuilding phase. That's why you pay big people big money to do big decisions. But I think the Raiders are in a little bit of strife at the moment. And I got my Melbourne multi up last week when they give the Dogs a good spanking, which was pretty well, what Tristan touched on it earlier, the odds in the line reflected that. But sorry, Bim and Raiders supporters, but I think they're fairly accurate with the odds in this one as well.
When you lose your number 7 and your number 9 early on in the season, that's going to make it hard, for 10 weeks, I reckon, because you trained all off-season with them there, and that's what happened to them. They lost
you struggle for that rhythm.
And Fogarty as well. obviously Tommy Starling comes in for Hodgson, but I think he's better off the bench with that impact of the slow, the tired forwards, his speed. He's so quick out of dummy half. So I don't know if you get that with Starling by starting him because the forwards are fresh, So you'd have to start him though because the only other person is Frawley, and I don't think he's a number 9. But yeah, I don't know. They're in a tough spot.
Yeah.
Croker's still in the reserves too.
They're bringing him.
He's always pretty handy.
I don't know if he'll make another game. I don't know. I hope he does. I hope he gets to 300. But I just don't know if he'll make it back in the first grade squad, unfortunately. Who's Maltz?
Yeah,
Yours?
my multi. So this one's just a cheap, easy one. And fingers crossed gets the chockies. For $4.43, I've got the points overall to be over 40.5. Xavier Coates to score any time, and Melbourne Storm to win by 13+. So that's very, very similar to what I had last week.
That Xavier Coates 1 or 2 tries.
Yeah, well, I should give myself an uppercut. Last week I put on for myself. I always back my own multis, but for some reason it didn't pay out, and I was just about ready to come knocking on the door, and then I realised that rather than having Xavier Coates any time, I had him to score 2 or more. So give yourself an uppercut, mate.
Tristan was just about to get a phone call. You weren't dirty.
Nah, I just can't read.
Yeah, all good. Got to read the fine print. Moving along to our next game, boys. The South Sydney Rabbitohs up against the Dragons. This one's at Accor Stadium out there at Homebush. South Sydney going in $1.30 favourites. St George Dragons are $3.55 outsiders head-to-head. At the line, 9.5. Get the Rabbitohs at the minus for $1.85. Or the Dragons at the plus for $1.95. This one should be a good game. St George were poor last week. Rabbitohs were steady. They weren't as good as they were the week before up against the Chooks, but you can't get up for two big games like in a row. That would have taken it out of them. I think that Roosters clash, they were up for that. Rabbitohs are playing well, boys. Any thoughts?
I actually think that St George, I don't think it's going to be a massive, massive blowout. I think St George might bounce back. As I said, I reckon they would have got their ass kicked on Monday or Tuesday by the time they had a recovery. They would have got their ass kicked yesterday, recording Wednesday time, obviously. And they've got the wood over them from the Charity Shield before the start of the season. St George got up and nipped them. And I understand that it's a pre-season game, but I tell you what, if you're going to beat someone 3 times in the season, that's a good start.
Just looking at the team list there, boys. Your boy Mansour comes in for Jackson Paulo. He's out HIA. Mark Nichols is out, obviously done the ankle the other week. Tommy Burgess to name in his place. And Havili misses out as well there on the bench spot. So, and for the St George boys, I just circled here, number 1, Moses Mbai. No Tyrell Sloan. That same. I think he does some funny things, that Anthony Griffin. Don't know if I agree with him, but hey, he's getting about $450,000 more than I am. So I
was going to say that's probably being generous too. He's probably getting a little bit more than that, should I say? The old hook they call him, Griffo.
Yeah.
It didn't work last week. I don't know why he didn't stick with it.
Don't know. And Jaden Sewer comes back so that he can get sin binned again as well. Thoughts on the games, Chaz?
Gosser Whiskey, back to the reserves. I think that's his name.
I was leaving.
What are we doing?
Just for me, weren't you?
What are we doing? Scotch tastings now, are we, or what?
Mouldy wise, this is yours again, Burto.
Yeah, this is mine. As I said, I'm not gonna go a big margin on this one, but what I am going to go, Latrell Mitchell to score at any time. South Sydney Rabbitohs, I'm going to give him the line, minus 9.5 is what I've got on here. Obviously, I put these on last night, Tuesday time, and the total points to be over 38.5. I think 38.5 is a very realistic score.
Plenty of points coming up.
I think the bulk of that will be from Souths. And I can see him getting about 30, 32 points in this game.
Yeah, and for those who are wondering too, that was $4.91.
Fantastic price. Thanks to TopSport. Head on over, create yourself an account, use the code SGM Podcast. Great odds. Last game to round out Super Saturday, boys. We got the Titans up against the Eels. We touched base with Tristan about it earlier. He thinks they're going to bounce back and get a win up there at Seabus home ground Saturday night. Should be a big crowd. Tell you what, mate, Tristo, I'm looking forward to this TopSport bar. Just looks like. Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
Jeez, it looks so good.
I'll tell you what does look good is that playing surface up on the Gold Coast.
It's a good stadium. It's a really good stadium.
Carpet on the weekend.
Yeah. back to the odds. Gold Coast Titans $3. You got the Eels at $1.39, and at the line is 7.5 plus for the Titans $1.90 and minus for the Eels also $1.90. Parramatta were good last week. Burto, I'll throw to you, seeing it's your team. Can they maintain it, or do you see a bit of the bounce back factor from the Titans like Tristan does?
Yeah, I think the Titans will be all the more better for what happened last week. They obviously got the chockies, and I always say if you can get those the dirty wins that don't look good, they're the ones that probably count the most. And I tell you what, if they scrape in the 8 by 2 points, that's a game that no one's going to remember. They're going to worry about them being in the 8. But I tell you what, I think they'll be all the more better for it. Playing at home too, as I said before, we've been to numerous games up on the Gold Coast, and they tend to turn out in big numbers when they play at home. So they'll also have the roar of the crowd, the fact that they haven't had to travel, and a good old ass kicking on Monday morning after that Thursday atrocity performance. But I think Parramatta could be too good, but then again. It's one of those. The way I see it as a Para supporter, it's a bit of a danger game. And for example, I don't have any fingernails left after the first half of Parramatta's game against St George, which to St George's credit, they played well. It's just we blew them out of the park in that second half. But I don't think it's going to be a big blowout. I think this could be a fairly close game of football, and I think playing in their conditions on a really nice surface, I think this is going to be the speed and quality, play the balls, etc. like that. I think this is going to be a really good game. I think this will be the game of the round.
Good chance. Yeah, a game last week, the first probably 15, 20 minutes, it was a real good game. It was really good. Parramatta kept their claws dug in and Dragons just died off.
Yeah.
That was the thing there. I think this one's going to be, I don't think it's going to be a huge margin. There could be maybe 10 or a dozen points in it at the most. I'd be leaning towards Parramatta, only from their performance last week. I've had a word. Tino might be going to the Roosters. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Hey, geez, who else?
Shawnee Lane's back too, but I mean, I had that bet on him last week for first try scorer, but he got scrapped about an hour before the game. So.
Yeah, I think he might have tweaked maybe a hamstring or an ankle or something like that in the warm-up before. But I'll tell you one thing too that I noticed that TopSport does that a lot of other betting firms don't. I had that as Sean Lane in my multi. They actually, instead of voiding that and giving me money back and washing their hands with it, they actually kept that multi rolling, but basically took him out and give me the remaining odds. So
recalculate. It's fantastic.
which was good, rather than just wash their hands with it and give it back to you as a bonus bet.
So I had him.
It was really good.
I had him just as a standalone bet for first try scorer. Then I had him in a multi as well, but I had him as a first try scorer. Someone else as an anytime try scorer. I can't remember who it was. Will Penasini, I think it was. So he dropped out. The odds dropped down. I didn't get the multi because there was no Will Penasini.
Yeah.
But that's like awesome of them. Like they don't just rob you. You know when you put things on for fixed odds and they get scratched and
then they
money disappears and
tough luck. So
but really good.
Yeah, I'm going to Parramatta 7.5 start. I'm going to get 13 plus Parramatta. Now, when I say 13 plus, I'm only talking maybe 14 points in this. I think 2 converted tries and maybe a penalty goal. Boys, and I tell you what, this bloke is going to be like a whole Viagra horn. He's Clint Gutherson. I think he's out for a bit of blood against Philip Sami. So Parramatta 7.5 start. Clint Gutherson anytime. Parramatta 13 plus, boys, and that will get you $3.79. It's not big odds, but I tell you what, it's a little 10 there, and that'll slowly add up.
The Gutherino coming out.
I reckon there's a very good chance, and I tell you what, the reason why I've done that because he is going to try every trick in the book to score a try just to get the arms up and
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. All right, let's move into a Sunday games and we'll wrap this up. We've got the Sharks up against the Tigers. Boys, Sharks $1.10 favourites here. West Tigers $7. That was heartbreaking for Madge last week. I nearly cried just looking at him up in that coach's box.
No wonder the bloke's thinning.
At the line is 17.5. You get the Sharkies at the minus for $1.90 or the Tigers at the plus for $1.90 as well. Anyone picking the upset for $7?
Hell no.
I kind of want to, but I don't because I'll be
tempting.
Oh, $7, like
just a $5.
Yeah, just chuck $5. I don't know. It could be one of those scrappy games.
Just give
I
me
like to see
$5.
what the weather's doing. Just give you $5. Be the same, you reckon? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can. Not for that. Not for the performance. Again, like that game was horrible. Sharkies are unchanged, as to the Tigers. So not much to talk about with the teams, boys.
And Sharks are being good. It's going to be a one-way battle for me.
Reckon?
Yeah, oh yeah, big time.
How good was Talakai last week?
Bro.
God, he played a good
Was
game.
it 13 or 19 tackle busts?
Yeah, and up against Gagai as well, as we said before. Probably
Who's playing
4%.
really good football.
And he outclassed him. I'll jump straight into our Maldies if you've got nothing else yet.
No, nothing. I was just going to say, do you have the suit man in this week for any timer?
I do.
I thought you would. Love it.
My multi on this one, boys. Sharks head-to-head. Katoa, Mulatalo, and that man himself, Talakai, all to get across. Couldn't find a Tigers player there, unfortunately, and $6.41 for that one.
Yeah, and that's probably explains itself. I think the Tigers might be lucky to score a try.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, the Cronulla are playing some good football too, as much as I don't want to say it, but they're actually playing really good football. And Talakai too, for a big boy, 0 to 100.
Yeah, quick.
Quick.
It's just solid. They can't get their arms around him. Like, they just can't tackle him. Last game of the round, boys, and again, Canterbury Bulldogs getting the Sunday game. Gosh, their turnaround's been good. Up against
That hasn't helped them.
up against the Penrith Panthers, that's for sure. This one's at CommBank Stadium at 6 o'clock on the Sunday. Bulldogs $7.50, and the Panthers are $1.09 head to head. The line is set at 19.5. Plus for the doggies, $1.90. Minus for the Panthers, also $1.90. Anyone picking the upset for $7.50?
Absolutely not. I tell you what, if
Jez
they
is
get
getting on right now. Look at him.
if they get the upset, I'll streak them all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
I could just have
You heard it here first.
had this had the same result for the Dogs as last week's game, possibly another couple of points going against their favour.
That $7.50 could go out to 8s, I'd reckon.
You reckon?
No changes for the Panthers, but a big one for the doggies. Kyle Flanagan makes his 2022 debut for the doggies. Hasn't trained all season with Matt Burton. Hasn't played 1 minute. Trained with the squad. Thrown him to the Wolves. I like Paul Kent's analogy. It's a hand grenade for your birthday, and I can't disagree. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully he makes a fist of it and goes out there and smashes it. I really do. I like the kid. Got nothing against him. I'd really like to see him do well. And you never know. Hey, maybe him and Burton will combine and they'll stick with him for a few more weeks. But I think they got the South next week as well, so it doesn't get any easier if he does retain his spot. So
On the Flanagan topic, talk of him going to the Dolphins as well.
Oh, here we go.
Let's start there.
The Roosters.
not the Roosters.
No, we've already had him. He's gone.
Been there, done it.
I'm just quickly having a look here for anytime try markets for the Fox. He hasn't scored this year.
No,
he hasn't.
Bit of a
He
dry
has
spell.
not. I think it's been the longest he's gone without consecutive games without a try.
Yeah.
I've never seen him at this price for anytime try scorers. $3.25.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
Usually it's about $1.60, $1.70.
And I actually thought that he might go off like a frog in a sock on the weekend because the Melbourne
against the
being,
old
he's,
team.
he's got that sour grape and that expectation to go out there and get roaring, but he just in general the whole side failed to fire.
I know a big reason of him going back to the Bulldogs and to Sydney was a family, but do you think he's regretting that decision?
100%, yeah.
Obviously, you got a bit more coin in the back pocket as well.
Let's be honest. To play professional sport, whether it's a contact professional sport, it's realistically, if you're lucky if you're good and you're injury free, it'll be more than 10 years. Apart from that, now I understand family and all this sort of stuff, but surely to God, 2 more years, 3 more years down in Melbourne, try and get one more ring and then maybe do it. But I think, and of all teams to go to, the doggies, I don't know.
With that, take your 10 years, get it done, do it at Melbourne.
100%, yeah.
I wouldn't have switched back to the Dogs. I would have looked at the long term effects of that.
Chooks or somewhere like that.
Kept playing with Melbourne. Win titles, get your name marked down as one of the best wingers of all time because you played for that side, just with their general quality. When you finish playing, all those opportunities open up. You get your panel shows, you get
Absolutely.
announcing, all that sort of stuff. If he goes to the Dogs now and the Dogs fail and he drops like he has been,
drops off the radar.
That after after his games are finished, when he does retire, those options start to
fade away.
fade out, crossed out, so to speak. So
We've got to wrap up, boys. Otherwise, the camera's going to run out of battery. I'll give you my multi though. Panthers minus 19.5, over 39.5 points. Taylor May to get across $3.34. I reckon that's a certainty to come off. Now we said last week we wouldn't do our collective cash back this week unless we got it up. Guess what? We didn't get it up. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to take Burto's pick in the Queen Elizabeth Stakes. What do you got, mate?
Very elegant.
Very
I
elegant.
think she's too good in the wet.
We'll be we'll be whacking the remaining charity bet money on Very Elegant to take that out. What's that, Saturday, 4 o'clock, I think, big race?
Thereabouts, yeah, the Queen
Yep.
Elizabeth. It might be a little bit later off the top of my head.
Anything else, boys, before we wrap it up? We're a bit short on time here.
No, mate, that's all from me this week.
Let's do it. I'm pumped.
Fantastic. As always, don't eat your soup with a fork and gamble responsibly.